Welcome everyone to the Regional Consultation in Africa. I am Tessie Katsambas, founder and CEO of Encompass, a private evaluation and consulting firm, and Encompass is proud to be supporting the hosting of this consultation. So, bienvenue à la consultation régionale en Afrique. Je suis Tessie Katsambas, fondatrice et directrice générale d'Encompass, une société privée de conseil en évaluation et en formation. Encompass est fier de soutenir l'organisation de cette consultation. We are very excited to see you and ready to have conversations on this important region and how it will engage in the Eval for Action campaign, a campaign that aims to place evaluation in the service of accelerating action to achieve sustainable development. Nous sommes heureux de vous voir et nous sommes prêts à engager des conversations sur la façon dont cette région s'engage dans la campagne Eval for Action, une campagne qui vise à mettre l'évaluation au service de l'accélération et de l'action pour atteindre le développement durable. Today, we are using English, French, and Portuguese. When our international speakers speak in English, you will be prompted to select the French or Portuguese channels to listen simultaneously to those languages. And other times, our volunteers will provide translation in the chat. Aujourd'hui, nous utilisons l'anglais, le français et le portugais. Lorsque nos locuteurs internationaux parlent en anglais, vous serez invité à sélectionner les chaînes françaises ou portugaises pour écouter la traduction simultanée. Et d'autres fois, nos volontaires, nos collègues fourniront la traduction dans le chat. So to welcome us to the region, it is now my pleasure to introduce Rossetti Nabumba, AFRIA President. Pour nous souhaiter la bienvenue dans la région, j'ai maintenant le plaisir de vous présenter Rossetti Nabumba, présidente de l'évaluation africaine d'évaluation. Rossetti, over to you.
Thank you very much. AFRIA welcomes everybody to this regional consultation. My name is Rossetti Nabumba Nayenga. I'm based in Uganda, but in charge of the African Evaluation Association. And I'm also happy to bring voices from the Africans who are engaged in evaluation. We are excited about this program where we are going to engage in consultations in the Eval for Action that aims to promote evaluation for measuring SDGs and developing an action plan to that purpose. What we are going to do is actually going to promote the mandate of AFRIA, which aims at supporting evaluations that contribute to sustainable development in Africa, including the achievement of SDGs. We are here to promote Africa-rooted and Africa-led evaluation, and therefore, this process of consultation is very timely. We are going to do this in collaboration with all our partners, including the AFRIA network for the young and emerging evaluators, the Global Evaluation Initiative, Clear AA, UNICEF, and many others. We look forward to all of you being actively engaged in the process and making sure that we actually continue and have an action plan at the end. I would like to end at this point and call upon Fazila and Saturnin to continue with the torch. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your kind words, Rossetti. Merci pour vos aimables paroles aujourd'hui, Rossetti. Alors, an important strength of the Eval for Action campaign is the leadership of young and emerging evaluators. Une force importante dans la campagne Eval for Action est la leadership des évaluateurs jeunes et émergents. So it is now my pleasure to introduce, as Rossetti said, Fazila Hossein et Saturnin Joitiand, co-chairs of the AFRIA Young and Emerging Evaluators Network. C'est donc avec plaisir que je vous présente Fazila Hossein et Saturnin Joitiand, co-président du réseau AFRIA Évaluateurs Jeunes et Émergentes.
Yes, thank you, Tessie. Good afternoon, everyone. We are here today, as you know, for this Africa Regional Consultation to spark interest, revive partnerships, like Rossetti said, create new ones in Africa, and the world. This requires cooperation and commitment from all. And AfriAE network is putting in place its governance structure that will be representative of young and emerging evaluators in Africa to ensure that YEs are making a meaningful contribution to the evaluation agenda. So I stress that the youth are the custodians of the future, and grooming ourselves now will contribute to quality evaluations and made in Africa approaches to evaluation that we need to start with now to measure progress towards the SDGs. YEs are keen to advocate for the use of evaluation in the development agenda and to contribute to the professionalization of evaluation. And we are here so that our voices are heard and policy and decision makers also hear this. So AfriAE Network welcomes you all to this first Eval for Action consultation session. Thank you.
Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Aujourd'hui se tient en tout cas la première session de consultation d'Eval for Action et nous sommes vraiment si fiers de faire partie de cette consultation régionale africaine pour faire entendre notre voix en tant que jeunes et évaluateurs émergents au niveau de l'espace du réseau africain. Comme tout le monde le sait, l'agenda global d'évaluation 2020 appelle à une évaluation avec une lentille genre, c'est-à-dire l'introduction de nouvelles approches évaluatives axées sur l'équité et le genre. Et cela nécessite que, au niveau de chaque association nationale, en tout cas, qu'il soit beaucoup plus influent pour pouvoir créer des environnements, en tout cas, favorables et propices à de telles évaluations axées sur le genre et sur l'équité. Vous conviendrez avec moi que cela ne peut se faire en marge de la jeunesse, car les jeunes et évaluateurs émergents constituent en tout cas un rôle important, non seulement en faisant entendre leur voix dans le processus de l'évaluation, mais aussi en participant à des mandats d'évaluation. Donc, en ce sens, et puis tenir compte de tout cet adage-là, je pense qu'il faudra en tout cas renforcer davantage les capacités de ces jeunes évaluateurs émergents à entreprendre beaucoup plus des évaluations de haute qualité et plus spécifiquement des évaluations axées sur l'équité et sensibles au genre. Pour terminer notre propos, nous disons ensemble, avec les évaluateurs émergents, construisons un monde meilleur, juste et équitable en ne laissant personne derrière. Belle session de consultation à tous et à toutes. Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you, Fazila. Thank you, Saturnin, for your leadership and hard work to promote evaluation in the region and worldwide. Merci, Fazila et Saturnin, pour votre leadership et votre travail pour promouvoir l'évaluation dans la région et dans le monde. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the global leaders of the Eval for Action campaign. UNFPA's Evaluation Office and Eval Youth, a network of Eval partners, are the founding members of the campaign. Marco Segone, UNFPA Director of Evaluation, and Khalil Pitar, Chair of the Eval Youth Network, will represent these organizations. Et maintenant, j'ai le plaisir de vous présenter les leaders mondiaux de la campagne Eval for Action. Le bureau d'évaluation du FNUAP et Eval Youth sont les organisations fondateurs de la campagne. Marco Segone, directeur de l'évaluation du FNUAP, et Khalil Bitar, président du réseau Eval Youth, représentent ces organisations. Marco, the mic is yours, and the interpretation channel will be open. So Laura, please activate interpretation. Et si vous pouvez écouter en français, si vous appuyez le bouton interprétation au bout du ordinateur. And also maybe Leticia, you can say in Portuguese, it will also be available in Portuguese. Marco.
Merci beaucoup, Tessie. Bonjour à tout le monde. Boa tarde, amigos de Mozambique, and good afternoon, everybody. It's really a very, very big pleasure to be here with you today, at least virtually. Next slide. So let me start with the good news, despite of the not so happy 2020. And the good news, as you all know, is that the world today has the Sustainable Development Goals. That is the global most ambitious roadmap towards the world that we want. Next slide. So the SDGs is telling us that our mission as a community is to transform our world by 2030. Next slide. So that we can achieve the world that we want. A world where all rights for all human beings are met everywhere at any time. And how to do that? By giving priority to those who are left behind. Next slide. Unfortunately, even before the pandemic, the projections were not so positive. Just to give you two examples, eradication of poverty are projected to be met by 2072. Gender equality is projected to be achieved by 2189. Next slide. And that was even before COVID-19 struck. And as we all know, COVID-19 is not only a public health crisis, but it's also a socioeconomic crisis, a humanitarian crisis, and a human development crisis. As we all know, unfortunately, COVID-19 has accelerated existing trends, including the existing trends of increasing inequalities among countries and within countries. And in addition, obviously, we all know that climate crisis is really having a massive human and financial cost, is a threat to global peace and security, and is really a threat to the entire global world. So we really need to build back better. And how to do that? By really informing policies, programs, projects, interventions by evidence. Next slide. And that's why Antonio Guterres, the United Nations Secretary General, last year launched the Decade of Action. As you know, we're in 2020, and we only have a decade, 10 years, to reach 2030, to reach the world that we want. But we are not on track, and therefore we need to accelerate the progress toward achieving the SDGs. Next. So the Decade of Action is really about acceleration. It's about being ambitious. It's about scaling up what works, and it's about speeding up. But all of this should always be informed by evidence. Next.
Excuse me, Marco. Excuse
yeah.
me, Marco. The French interpretation is not working. Let's maybe reset it and try it again, because people are not hearing. So let's just do it one more time, and we will start in 1 minute, in 1 second rather.
From the beginning?
No, because we will post the translation in the chat, but we just want to make sure that, so Laura, are we ready to go again? Okay, please continue. Sorry about that.
Okay, thanks. So why it should be informed by evidence and by evaluation in particular? Because evaluation tells us what works, what does not work, why, for whom, and under what circumstances. And as mentioned before, due to the fact that inequalities are increasing, it's very important that evaluation should be equity focused and gender responsive, so that it can really inform policies that are also equity focused and gender responsive. Next slide. And that's why, as already mentioned, UNFPA, the Evaluate Global Network, and the Global Parliamentarian Forum for Evaluation came together to launch the Decade of Evaluation for Action. Next. So the Decade of Evaluation for Action, or EVAL for Action, is a multi-sectoral advocacy campaign. It really tries to mobilize commitments to action by all different stakeholders, and is very much aligned to the UN Secretary General Decade of Action. Next. So even if EVAL for Action has been launched by 3 organizations, in just a few months, more than 110 partners from all over the world joined the campaign, including AFREA, including the young evaluators from Africa, and including several VOPEs and academia and private sector and UN agencies from Africa and beyond. In addition, we had hundreds and hundreds of individuals, people also joining the campaign. And this success has been possible because EVAL for Action is co-shared by everybody. It really belongs to everyone, to all those who want to make a difference. Next. In October this year, EVAL for Action launched the Commitment Drive. It was an invitation to anybody, to everybody, to commit for action for influential evaluation. If you have not committed yet, you are still on time. You just need to make your commitment public, for example, through social media, through Twitter. Next. And you can also join EVAL for Action by going to the EVAL for Action website and subscribing to the newsletter. So it's really a call to commit for action, and next year the focus will be on walk the talk. It will be actually on implementing action. So what will be discussed today during this virtual consultation at the working groups hopefully will become an action plan that will be implemented next year and will make a difference in national evaluation policy and systems in Africa. As I said, EVAL for Action was co-launched by the Global Evaluate Network, who is co-chaired by Khalil Bitar. Khalil Bitar is a true champion of evaluation in the global community. He has really advocated for social justice and environmental justice and the use of evaluation. So it is now my very big pleasure to ask Khalil to take the floor. Khalil, over to you.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you very much. I highly appreciate your leadership in the campaign and supporting young and emerging evaluators. And we all learn from your passion before anything, really, because it's great, but also actions and publications and so much work about enhancing capacity, policies, and supporting equity focus in the responsive approaches and so on. And Eval for Action, I think it's about all of these things. And good afternoon to everybody. Assalamu alaikum as well. It is a great pleasure to join the African Evaluation Association and Evaluate Africa region chapter in the 6th consultation of the Decade of Evaluation for Action campaign with colleagues and friends from the regions and other parts of the world. It is about 9 months since we officially launched the Eval for Action campaign. And in a nutshell, the campaign aims to to make calls really for all actors everywhere to accelerate the delivery of the SDGs by advocating for stronger evaluation capacity and evidence-based policies. And these are very relevant and important for Africa as well. And it's a leader in many of these objectives. Today we are starting the 6th regional consultation as well, with over 115 partners from most countries and regions, and partners really who lead and shape the network, not the only 3 founding partners, but all partners shape the network, the campaign. Young and emerging evaluators and Eval Youth are integral to Eval for Actions. To many of us, the campaign focuses on very important topics that inspire us, and that's why we really care about, including transformational change, genuine actions, not just nice books and papers, but also doing something about it, and influential evaluation for the SDGs, which is a global agenda that we all in the international community agreed on. Many of us are impatient to contribute to real change through actions that put particularly justice, equity, and environmental sustainability at the forefront of the national and global development efforts. And this is why the Eval for Action campaign is highly relevant to us all. Yet, while young and emerging evaluators eager to make a difference and bring about change, there are also some frustration because we often don't find the right partners or platforms. But in Eval Youth, we found the great partners in UNFPA and the Global Parliamentarian Forum through Eval for Action, and working with the UNFPA also with their support in many other activities. In Eval for Action, we found the outstanding platform to work with many partners and share our passion with them. And we are lucky to work with pioneering evaluation leaders who were the first to support Eval Youth and the Youth in Evaluation movement overall. I hope as you join the campaign, individually or through organization, and both are possible, that you will have the opportunity to build or strengthen partnership with other people and other colleagues and organizations that have the same passion. Eval for Action really offers a platform for us to work together, to discuss ideas, to discuss what activities we can do nationally and regionally and globally. And those collective efforts that make a difference. If one organization or one individual work, they will not make a huge difference like when we work together. Finally, I want to thank the AFRIA, Eval Youth AFRIA, YE chapter, Encompass, Eval for Action colleagues who supported the development of this consultation and preparation for it. It takes a lot of time and hard work, but in the end they did it. And especially young and emerging evaluators, I have to note that from Africa especially, they are very active. They are active in the global networks and some of the most prominent and active leaders. And we can see this in the consultation today and a lot of work they're doing. I look forward to working with you all during this consultation that I'm sure it's very successful. And I will be listening to all the discussions and hopefully come back in the end of the consultation also to contribute a little bit. Thank you so much. Thanks, Stacy and Marco.
Thank you, Khalil and Marco, for your commitment to placing evaluation in service to action towards the Sustainable Development Goals. Merci, Khalil et Marco, pour votre engagement à mettre l'évaluation au service de l'action vers les objectifs de développement durable. So, one note, if you have not done so, please rename yourselves to let us know the language groups that you will join when we break up into groups for discussion a little bit later. So, si vous ne l'avez pas fait, veuillez vous renommer pour nous indiquer le groupe linguistique que vous souhaitez rejoindre. To do this, you hover over your name in your photo or in the participants list, and you select the 3 dots or more, and you click Rename. Pour ce faire, vous passez la souris sur votre nom, sur votre photo ou dans la liste des participants. Vous sélectionnez les 3 points ou plus et vous cliquez sur Renommer. Please place in front of your name an E for English, P for Portuguese, or FR for French. Veuillez placer devant votre nom un E pour l'anglais, un P pour portugais ou FR pour le français. Leticia, please post this also in Portuguese in the chat. Okay, so thank you everyone. And now it is time to pass the evaluation torch. As we hold the Eval for Action consultations in each region, the evaluation torch is passed from one region to the next. Africa is now ready to receive the torch from Eurasia, where we were earlier this week. Alors, que nous tenons les consultations Eval for Action dans chaque région, le flambeau d'évaluation est passé d'une région à l'autre. L'Afrique est maintenant prête à recevoir le flambeau de l'Eurasie, où nous étions plus tôt cette semaine. So from Eurasia, I call, d'Eurasie j'appelle, Dmitro Kontradenko, Tatiana Narcinska and Antonina Rishko-Porcescu. Representing the Africa region, représentant la région Afrique, j'appelle Rosette Inabumba, Honorable Evelyn Kaboule, Saturnin Zoitiande, and Fazila Hussein. Antonina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Tessie. It is great honor and pleasure to hand over this Eval for Action torch from Eurasian region to Africa. And on behalf of Eurasian region, I wish you success in consultation and also in further implementation of recommendations. Thank you.
And from Africa, who will receive?
Can I?
Please.
Okay, from the Africa side, we are receiving the torch, and we will continue, and would like also to invite you to the next Africa conference. It should have been in March, but with COVID-19, the new date will be in September 2021. And our theme is evaluation that leaves no one behind. And I know empowering progress towards the Africa we want. The SDGs are part, and we would like to be part of this endeavor, and let's work together to change our lives in Africa. I pass over the torch.
Thank you both. The evaluation torch now lights our path forward in today's consultation. Le flambeau de l'évaluation éclaire la voie à suivre dans la consultation d'aujourd'hui. So big applause. Okay, and now it is time to hear from our guest speakers. Our first speaker is a passionate and influential friend of evaluation. She has impressed me every time I hear her speak. Maintenant, il est temps d'entendre des conférenciers invités. Notre première oratrice est un amie passionnée et influente de l'évaluation. Elle m'a impressionné chaque fois que je l'entends parler. It is my pleasure, j'ai le plaisir de present the Honorable Evelyn Naomi Kaboule, Member of Parliament in Uganda. Evelyn, the microphone is yours.
Thank you so much, Tessie. I hope everybody is able to hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I welcome all the different panelists and participants who have joined this consultation. And a special thank you to AFREA and the YEE network and everybody who has worked so hard to make this possible. We really do appreciate. As you're all aware, the African continent is in great need of a monitoring and evaluation culture for development impact and the achievement of the SDGs. Therefore, the Africa Eval for Action consultation is a step in that direction and an opportunity for regional and national evaluators, as well as interested stakeholders to discuss synergy and partnerships that promote influential evaluations for the Sustainable Development Goals and Made in Africa evaluation. And it's a great honor for me to give you a brief elocution on national evaluation policies and how we in Africa can develop an evaluation culture. I also speak about and emphasize the role parliamentarians play to build such an enabling environment in evaluation. To realize this vision on the African continent is not without issue, and the work of institutions such as AFREA and ACNOD and others in enhancing and advancing the demand for and the utilization of evaluation in national decision-making to support development effectiveness and inclusive growth. National evaluation policies are built on two principles: to increase the demand for evaluation and, of course, the use of those evaluations. And therefore, national evaluation policies set standards for evaluations at the country level. And when put in place, national evaluation policies guide government institutions and evaluation practitioners, and this promotes the establishment of necessary evaluation mechanisms and systems within a country. It's therefore important to have a comprehensive M&E framework at the country level, which is in sync with the national evaluation policy. And to enable a positive evaluation environment on the continent, parliamentarians also play a key role, and they have the opportunity and authority to supervise and question the progress of any development initiative and use of public funds in a country. Parliamentarians actively demand accountability from government regarding the implementation and application of public policies. And in this sense, parliamentarians also request evaluation studies that will examine the implementation phase and impacts of government policies on the population and the country at large. The use of national evaluation policy serves to guarantee state accountability of public resources, and it further will ensure that initiatives stay relevant, stay efficient, effective, impactful, and sustainable. And parliamentarians should be well informed with up-to-date information about effective initiatives and development programs through evaluation so that resources are wisely invested in a country. Unfortunately, some parliaments face lack of data and standardized evaluation processes, which in turn hinders and affects the duty of parliamentarians. Relevant data and information are useful to properly monitor the progress of national development initiatives through parliaments. Yet in some African countries, there are no well-structured evaluation commissions or research units that can support the work of parliamentarians in the evaluation of projects and programs. However, we all know data gathered from evaluations are key elements and valuable evidence that parliamentarians need to use to either debunk government's acts or validate their achievements. And as a unit, African Parliamentarians Network on Development Evaluation, ACNOD, is committed to engage in consultations across the region and to contribute to the development of an action plan that advances the evaluation agenda of the region and to accelerate the achievement of SDGs. And to this end, ACNOD will continuously work with all parliamentarians across the continent and above, and in ensuring that evaluation evidence is used for strengthening oversight, budgeting, legislation, and policymaking. And our mandate is to strengthen the capacity of African parliamentarians for quality oversight, policymaking, and national decision-making by ensuring appreciation, demand, and utilization of evaluations in their daily work. And we will continue to do so until the establishment of an evaluation culture on the continent. For God and my country, I thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Evelyn, for these wonderful, wonderful words. We really appreciate it. It's inspiring. And now I would like to invite Mr. Youssouf Ndia, Director of Monitoring and Evaluation of Côte d'Ivoire. Et maintenant, je voudrais inviter Monsieur Youssouf Ndia, Directeur du suivi d'évaluation à la Côte d'Ivoire. Monsieur Ndia.
Merci. La Côte d'Ivoire se réjouit de participer à cette rencontre, elle qui a été le carrefour mondial et africain en mars 2019 des questions d'évaluation des politiques et projets de développement lors de l'organisation de la 9e conférence de l'AFREA qui s'est tenue sur son sol. Notre pays, qui sort d'une décennie de crise sociopolitique, a replacé la planification au cœur de l'action publique. Et donc, nous avons organisé 2 plans nationaux de développement, le plan 2012-2015 et le plan 2016-2020, qui ont été élaborés et mis en œuvre et ont permis d'enregistrer des performances remarquables avec des taux de croissance moyens de l'ordre de 8% sur la période 2012-2018. Pour le suivi de la mise en œuvre de ces stratégies de développement, des plans de suivi et d'évaluation ont été élaborés. Ils permettent d'améliorer la reddition des comptes en assurant le fonctionnement régulier du dispositif institutionnel pour une bonne circulation de l'information et aident à élaborer régulièrement des rapports de suivi et d'évaluation pour aider à la prise de décision. S'appuyant sur le cadre institutionnel de suivi du PND, du Plan national de développement, le dispositif du système d'information spécifie les acteurs clés et leur rôle dans la collecte, le traitement, le stockage et la diffusion des informations. Il comprend également le circuit des données et des informations et présente le flux de remontée des données entre les différents acteurs clés et le ministère du Plan et du Développement, qui constitue le noyau du système d'information. Ce système d'information s'applique aussi pour le suivi des objectifs de développement durable, dans lesquels notre pays s'est engagé pour la réalisation à l'horizon 2030. Cette concrétisation a permis de prioriser 40 cibles et 63 indicateurs de suivi entièrement intégrés dans le PND 2021-2025 en cours de finalisation. Pour le renforcement de ce dispositif et son fonctionnement effectif, une analyse diagnostique approfondie sera réalisée au cours du premier semestre 2021 qui débouchera sur l'élaboration d'une stratégie nationale de suivi et d'évaluation avec l'appui de certains partenaires déjà identifiés, notamment l'UNICEF, CLIER Dakar, Point d'Imbéli de l'Afrique du Sud. En outre, notre pays bénéficie d'un regain d'activité sur les questions d'évaluation depuis l'organisation de la 9e conférence de l'AFRIA. Ainsi, un avant-projet de loi portant un régime juridique de l'évaluation des politiques publiques a été élaboré avec la participation de l'ensemble des parties prenantes. L'un des éléments clés de cet avant-projet est la systématisation de l'évaluation des interventions de l'État qui devrait nous permettre de disposer d'évidences pour étayer les performances réalisées dans la mise en œuvre du plan national de développement, qui est le cadre d'opérationnalisation des objectifs de développement durable au cours de la décennie d'action 2021-2030. Les défis qui nous attendent sont de renforcer le système de planification des statistiques qui garantissent la disponibilité des données désagrégées pour le suivi des ODD, intensifier, selon le principe de ne laisser personne de côté, les actions de sensibilisation, de consultation, de renforcement des capacités de toutes les parties prenantes et de mettre en œuvre avec l'appui des partenaires techniques et financiers le plan d'action opérationnel assorti d'un mécanisme de financement pour l'agenda 2030 et surtout faire beaucoup d'évaluations. Je vous remercie.
Thank you so much for your support of the Eval for Action campaign, Mr. Ndia. Maintenant, j'ai le plaisir d'inviter Simiasa à parler au nom de Monsieur Sergerik Yakou-Diam. It is now my pleasure to invite Simiasa to speak on behalf of Mr. Sergerik Yakou-Diam. Simiasa.
Merci beaucoup, Tessie. Bonsoir, mesdames, bonsoir, messieurs. Je suis Simiasa et je vais donc vous présenter ici le petit discours de M. Serge Eric qui est empêché. Il dit donc: je m'appelle Serge Eric Yakou, président mondial du réseau EVA Indigenous et ancien président de l'AFRIA. Je m'engage à mener des actions d'évaluation influentes avec un accent principal sur la décolonisation de l'évaluation en Afrique et au-delà. Il y a un besoin urgent de communication et d'interaction mutuelle pour un meilleur environnement pour tous. Les minorités et les peuples autochtones doivent recevoir une attention particulière dans nos actions. Nous, à EVAL Indigenous, croyons et travaillons pour la promotion des principes et pratiques d'évaluation qui tiennent compte du contexte et des principes culturels afin de guider le processus de prise de décision et adhère aux aspirations des populations. Merci, Serge, Eric. Merci beaucoup, Tessie.
Sorry. Thank you, Simyasa, and a big applause for all our speakers today. Merci, Simyasa, et félicitations pour tous nos excellents orateurs d'aujourd'hui. And now it is time to hear from you, our participants. We will be separated into small groups to seek your ideas on how evaluation can catalyze action towards the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, a big thank you first to our volunteer facilitators, you see them on the screen, who will host you in each group in your language of choice. Et maintenant, il est temps de vous entendre, vous, nos participants. Nous serons transférés en petits groupes pour rechercher vos idées sur la manière dont l'évaluation peut catalyser l'action vers les objectifs de développement durable. Un grand merci aux animateurs volontaires qui vous accueilleront dans chaque groupe dans la langue de votre choix. So again, if you have not done so, please rename yourself to let us know what language group you wish to join. Si vous ne l'avez pas fait, veuillez vous renommer pour nous indiquer le groupe linguistique que vous souhaitez rejoindre. To do this, hover over your photo or your name in the participant list, select the 3 dots or more and click Rename. Pour ce faire, vous passez le souris sur votre nom, sur votre photo ou dans la liste des participants. Vous sélectionnez les 3 points ou plus et vous cliquez Renommer. Please place in front of your name an E for English, P for Portuguese, and FR for French. Veuillez placer devant votre nom un E pour l'anglais, un P pour portugais ou un FR pour le français. Your facilitators will lead the conversation in your group. Take notes and then share some highlights from your discussions when we return in plenary. Vos animateurs vont diriger la conversation dans votre groupe. Ils vont prendre des notes, puis vont partager quelques points saillants de vos discussions lorsque nous reviendrons en plénière. Et Mr. Samuel Kwaku, Vice President of AFRIA, will help me introduce the questions. So the main question, if we can look at the next slide, here is the main question. What could be tangible actions for ensuring evaluation strategically contributes to accelerating progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals? So as you consider these tangible actions, think about how we can maximize our partners' engagement. How can we engage the public sector, the private sector, parliamentarians, governments, emerging evaluators? What role can different actors play in meeting the Sustainable Development Goals? How could a Made in Africa approach to evaluation contribute to accelerating progress towards the SDGs? So Samuel, over to you to introduce the question in French.
Ok, merci à tous, merci à Tessie pour cette opportunité qu'elle nous donne pour présenter les questions. Il y a en tout 3 questions principales. La première question, c'est quelles pourraient être les actions concrètes pour garantir que l'évaluation contribue stratégiquement à accélérer les progrès dans la réalisation des ODD. La deuxième question, c'est comment pourrons-nous maximiser le rôle de nos partenaires, par exemple le secteur public, le secteur des jeunes évaluateurs émergents dans la réalisation des ODD. Et enfin, la troisième question, c'est comment une approche Made in Africa, c'est-à-dire l'évaluation dans le contexte africain, comment cette approche pourrait-elle contribuer à accélérer les progrès vers les ODD? Donc, voici les 3 principales questions qui seront débattus tout à l'heure en petits groupes et pour lesquels les animateurs ont été déjà sélectionnés à cette occasion. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Samuel. Okay, so we are ready, and I'm turning it over to Laura to put us in small groups. If you are not where you need to be and you have not renamed yourself, you will be able to move once you're somewhere. I know that we had some very interesting discussions. I know I did in one of the rooms. So, bienvenue à tous. Je sais que vous avez eu des excellentes discussions et nous sommes prêts à entendre ce que vous avez dit. Alors, so, room 1, la chambre numéro 1. Qui fait le rapport? Who's the reporter? Yes.
We ended up combining several rooms. So the first room to present will be room 4.
Okay.
With Shiku and Esvenancio.
Okay.
And Mark.
Okay. So who's presenting?
I can present.
Great.
All right. So we came out with about 9 points. To the question, what could be the tangible actions for ensuring evaluation strategically contributes to accelerating SDG progress towards the SDGs. So the first one was to ensure that all the stakeholders are included and identified to where everybody is on board, because it doesn't make sense to just go and do something without including everybody. Number 2, this was Africa specific. We talked about sharing knowledge and doing things in a collaborative manner to ensure that evaluation contributes to us moving towards the goals of the SDGs. Next, we talked about having a law enacted by the different governments to support evaluation functions, to where there's like an active ministry and where evaluation literally is a function that we live with, that we practice on a daily basis. We also talked about professionalization of evaluation, and one of our members here talked to us about a pretty exciting initiative that's beginning to where evaluation as a profession is being professionalized. So that could be something that could be done all around. We talked about the need for mentorship for those who are, who've been practicing for a while, those who are new to practicing evaluations. And here we touched on the young and emerging evaluators. Okay, we went over, let's see. We talked about Made in Africa evaluation. Here we highlighted the Eval Indigenous initiative, to where we've got knowledge in terms of telling it in, via stories and stuff like that. We just need to be able to harness this knowledge, to be able to have a space that's created for where this knowledge is recorded and moved from one generation to another. Next, we talked about how to ensure that data is not politically skewed and perhaps not withheld for reasons that are maybe politically motivated. And for this, the solution we found was we can work as evaluators. We could potentially work with everybody who works in, the government level, or anybody who has access to them, to where we can get a clearer picture of maybe data that's required. We talked about capacity building by using proper tools to know exactly what we are measuring. And finally, we talked about using evidence, making evidence-based decisions versus emotional ones. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the translation in the chat so we can all follow this exciting conversation. A lot of very good points. So Laura, which group is next since we combined?
Yes, next group is group 5 with Dasi and Jean-Luc.
Okay, so who is presenting from you? Qui va présenter? Dasi et Jean-Luc.
C'est Jean-Luc qui va présenter.
Bon, Jean-Luc. You are in mute. Appuyez le bouton pour unmute. Très bien.
Donc, en ce qui concerne la première question, il s'agissait de voir quelles pourraient être les actions concrètes pour garantir que l'évaluation contribue stratégiquement à accélérer les progrès vers les ODD. Le premier point sur lequel nous avons insisté, il s'est agi d'institutionnaliser l'évaluation dans nos pays à travers la création d'organes forts qui portent l'évaluation. Le deuxième point est d'incorporer l'évaluation dans les programmes, d'incorporer l'évaluation de programmes et projets dans les curricula de formation au niveau des universités et grandes écoles de formation publique à travers un lobbying auprès de nos gouvernements. Et le troisième point est de mettre en place un programme national de renforcement des capacités en évaluation parce que nous avons constaté que souvent dans nos pays, il n'y a pas d'experts nationaux en matière d'évaluation. Il y a un manque de compétences nationales pour les questions d'évaluation dans les différents ministères et institutions au niveau national. Ensuite, pour la question en rapport avec comment pouvons-nous maximiser le rôle de nos partenaires dans la réalisation des ODD, nous avons dit qu'il fallait impliquer activement les différents partenaires dans la prise de décision sur les questions d'évaluation. Il faut donc les impliquer. Il ne faudrait pas qu'ils soient en marge des questions d'évaluation. Nous avons besoin de leur contribution. Et le deuxième point, nous avons dit qu'il fallait mettre l'accent sur notre culture dans la conduite des évaluations. Donc, ces deux points essentiellement que nous avons pu noter sur cette question. Et concernant la troisième question, qui porte sur l'approche Made in Africa de l'évaluation, nous avons dit qu'il fallait faire confiance aux évaluateurs nationaux. Parce que très souvent, les décisions, les résultats d'évaluation au niveau national ne sont pas très souvent pris en compte dans les prises de décision. Et aussi, pour conduire les évaluations, on fait appel à des experts internationaux. Nous avons dit qu'il était important de mettre l'accent sur les ressources humaines au niveau national pour conduire les activités d'évaluation. Nous avons aussi dit qu'il fallait financer la recherche en matière d'évaluation au niveau national en tenant compte du contexte et donc que les résultats d'évaluation soient basés sur le contexte au niveau national. Voici un peu les points que nous avons donc retenus dans le cadre de nos échanges. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. This was these are some very exciting and important priorities. We appreciate it. So, Laura, which group is next?
Group 6 with Leticia, Arifa, and Sia.
Okay, so who's presenting?
I will. So we had a very interesting discussion on the tangible actions for ensuring evaluation strategies. So one of the key things that we discussed, or like that was highlighted, was the need to embrace evidence-based decision making, We also talked about sharing good practices, for platforms such as this, so that we know what's working and what other people are doing, and we learn from platforms like this. And then so we also talked about the role of private sector in first we didn't only think about public sector contribution, but for for the need to also ensure that the private sector also does its bit. So that's like strengthening evaluation practices, as well as having more knowledge sharing platforms. And we also mentioned the need to not only endorse evaluation policies, but also work on utilizing them. Because in our countries, or even in our smaller ways, we are always used to like looking at the documents, endorsing, signing on it, but implementation usually delays or becomes a problem. So we also highlighted the need to utilize these policies, not only endorsing them. And we also talked about the need to focus on, not only focus on research-based approaches, but also to have a more inclusive or participatory approach during evaluations.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Arif. I really appreciate it. In spite of our connectivity difficulties, there are some really substantive, great conversations. Thank you. So now we go to group 7 with Danielle, Tomas, and Feliz. Who's presenting?
Yes, I'll be doing that, please. We had great conversations around the question, and one question, one point that came out was capacity building activities and public campaigns to get all key stakeholders involved, and also the need for political will towards achieving the SDGs. That is having a proper system in place that will have all political actors buy in, irrespective of whether it's party A or party B. Then also focus on evaluation, having the evaluation thinking. Then also there's a need for evaluation associations in national VOPs to work hand in hand with national SDGs groups. In doing this, we can able to provide some technical advice and support, and also giving real-time data, and the need to communicate evaluation findings to all key stakeholders, especially the media. So these were our contributions, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then is group 6. And in group 6, group 9. And in group 9, we had some difficult connectivity. So I joined the group. It was a Francophone group. I'm going to present in English, but here I'm pasting the French translation of our 4 points of the group. So the first point was that our evaluation work must prioritize equity and participation. So the actions must be linked and directed to that, and making sure that everyone is included and thinking more deeply about stakeholders. The second point was use evaluation to verify that policies have the desired impact. There's so much being suggested by our politicians, by our governments, and evaluation has an important role for that accountability to the public. The third point was to focus a bit on the campaign, focus evaluation on the use of planning. So many times the problems start with plans that are unrealistic, and so evaluation can really help there to create some accountability in planning for government programs. And the last point was, right now we see a lot of evaluation action fueled by volunteer efforts, and we must also allocate funds for evaluation because we will not be able to do this with evaluation alone. So those are our 4 points. And thank you very much to the group that worked through very challenging connectivity. Okay, so now we are ready for group 10 with, is it Eshija? Who is presenting for group 10? If someone is talking, they're muted. So please, let's hear from group 10. Qui est responsable pour... Saturnin, vous êtes dans ce groupe. Qui est responsable pour présenter?
Allô, Tissi, merci pour la parole. Je pense que ce groupe-là, ils ont eu des soucis d'Internet, hein, parce que moi, j'ai rejoint le groupe un peu tard, mais le facilitateur est venu, mais il disait que lui n'avait pas pu. Donc, quand je suis arrivé, le groupe n'a pas pu échanger pour des problèmes de connexion Internet, en fait.
Ah, bon, that's very sad. Yeah, je suis désolée. Okay, so let's go to group 11, 11, qui présente.
Oui, bonsoir Tessie.
Yes.
Fumilayo. Oui. Dans le groupe 11, nous avons retenu quelques points. Comme au premier point, il a dit que chaque pays doit avoir une politique nationale de l'évaluation qui prend en compte les besoins de chaque partenaire. Dans un autre point, il faut forcément le renforcement des capacités des différents acteurs. Et l'autre point qui est aussi saillant, c'est le moment de conduite de l'évaluation qui doit se faire nécessairement avant la prise des décisions. Parce qu'ils ont dit que souvent on constate que l'évaluation se fait après que des décisions soient déjà prises. Donc, il faut mettre l'accent sur le moment de conduite de l'évaluation. Il faut prévoir un budget conséquent pour l'évaluation, car souvent le budget est parfois insuffisant. Et il faut respecter la culture du pays. Donc, il faut forcément associer les gens du pays à l'évaluation. Souvent, il est constaté que les gens quittent d'autres pays pour venir faire l'évaluation. On a suggéré que des personnes du pays soient associées pour avoir vraiment des données de qualité. C'est les quelques points que nous avons retenus dans le groupe 11. Merci. Allô?
Oui, merci beaucoup.
C'est bon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oui.
Very, very helpful. Okay, so do we have another group, Laura?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear from group 12.
Okay, thank you, Tessie. This is Leonard Yossi. I'm representing group 12. As we in terms of tackling the question, in terms of what are the actions that we can ensure evaluation strategically contributes towards measuring progress towards SDGs. One of the key challenges that was noted there in terms of some of the grassroots level, to go to grassroots level, these SDGs are not well known. So how will it be evaluated? So that's why the team recommended in terms of inclusion, in terms of creating more awareness, and also cascading down up to local level, where the SDGs are global goals. How can they be cascaded into national goals? From national goals, they can go to local level goals or up to the community goals, so that it becomes very easy when an evaluator is conducting evaluations, providing a transparency and accountability. It pulls all along the people who are seeing what is happening, so that they can be able to agree progress has been made or not at the grassroots level, so it becomes easier for the global goals to be achieved automatically. But then we talked about, for those to happen, then we need also these challenges where evaluators are not well trained. We don't have capacity. Reason is, if you look at the African continent, most universities are not offering degrees that undergraduate skills for evaluation. So that is what is lacking, and we suggested that having a robust curriculum that supports undergraduates, and at the undergraduate level, we can have evaluators that are specialized, like evaluation towards environmental, towards blue agriculture, evaluation towards health. Because we had we have an Antonio from Mozambique who said for someone to have evaluation M&D skills, he has to do a postgraduate in public health, which means that they're not interested in the public health aspect of that training, they're interested in the evaluation aspect. So those are the area that we need to know. Then out of that, then we can be able to have what we call a capacity of very competent evaluators. Then we can set the standards, create what are the competency and the ethical guidelines, and then we professionalize the whole evaluation within Africa. Then once we have professionals, then Made in Africa becomes an easy end game in terms of having competent evaluators who have tested some of the approaches that are very important, very useful in African context. And those are the ones that are well developed and become standard practice for Made in Africa evaluation, so that the Global South has its own way of ensuring evaluations are done with the cultural context and also with the community context within Africa becoming the center stage of that. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonard. This was so exciting. I mean, I have goosebumps. I love the ideas that have been shared today. And thank you to everyone for these fantastic ideas. So, merci à tous qui ont partagé ces excellentes idées. Et nous vous assurons qu'elles feront partie de la planification de l'action dans le plan pour la campagne Eval for Action en Afrique. Et maintenant, pour quelques réflexions sur aujourd'hui, permettez-moi de passer le micro l'un après l'autre. So for some reflections on these wonderful, wonderful ideas that you have shared, let me pass the microphone to Marco Segone, Khalil Bitar, Samuel Kwaku, and Mark Bulobi. Marco, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, really, as you just said, very, very interesting insights and ideas and proposals. So I will just focus on 5 takeaway messages from my side. The first one is that given all the issues about all the different typology of inequalities and inequities, we already said evaluations should always be equity focused and gender responsive. However, they should also be responsive to the local context and culture. And in this specific area, Africa has already made a huge progress, an impressive progress with all the work done on the Made in Africa evaluation. So really congratulations and really a call to continue strongly in that direction. Second takeaway message is that, in addition to the action plan that hopefully will come out from this consultation, next year we should really focus on action, on walk the talk. And if we want to achieve progress and results, and that's my third key takeaway message, that will be possible only through multi-stakeholder partnership, because we all know that development issues are complex, and therefore we need the effort and support of everybody. It doesn't matter if you are a young evaluator or a parliamentarian, if you are a staff from the United Nations or a private consultant, if you are from an NGO or from the government. It's really, everybody should really engage and come up with an intentional strategy for collaboration and multi-stakeholder partnership. Because, and that's my fourth message, is that it's really up to each of us to make a difference. We should commit personally and professionally to make the difference so that we can achieve the world that we want. And my last but not least, fifth message is really a big thank you to the organizers, to AFREA and to the Young Evaluators of Africa and everybody else who has been supporting and engaging the organization. Thanks a lot to Tessie and Encompass as usual, for the great facilitation. And above all, thanks a lot to all of you who today contributed excellent ideas. And I'm sure that you are also committed to implement those excellent ideas. Thank you very much. Over.
Okay, over to Khalil.
Thank you, Tessie and Marco. I also congratulate you for very, very productive, rich, and inclusive consultation. I joined the one group that the conversation was very rich, and I saw that this happened also in other groups and other discussions. I hope these discussions continue because it's very important. And in terms of what key messages I heard, I thought there's very, very important focus on professionalization and capacity building. This, I think it's common among most groups. And the need for that, as Marco said, to localize it in terms of the great progress that has been done on Made in Africa, indigenous, and also working on the capacity building of national evaluators. So I think such thinking is in the right direction, especially if it's related and reflected perhaps in the conference in September next year and also the action plan. And the other stream was also about evidence-based policies and working with government. And I know some of maybe the most active national associations are in the region and working with policymakers. And we have amongst us as well policymakers and parliamentarians like Honorary Evelyn, who contributed and always attend such events. So I think the action plan, it would be great if, like what you said and the group said, to really consider this issue much more in terms of also linking it to Made in Africa and indigenous evaluators. And the final point that I don't have an answer for perhaps, and it's more difficult, is that almost every group said how important it is to find funding. And this is of course, the Eval for Action campaign is an advocacy campaign, but it will also allow to working with other campaigns and other partners. So I hope this point will be considered on the AFRIA level, perhaps, and also working with other people that, because yes, it's true, sometimes when their funding are not available, it's much more difficult. And but just finally, to thank also the colleagues who work really hard on preparing for this consultation, made a great difference. Tessie, Laura, Acella, Rosetti, Fazila, Mark, Simiasa, Samuel, and all other colleagues. And happy holidays to all of you. I wish you a great, happy holidays and hopefully much better New Year as well. Thank you, Tessie.
Thank you, Khalil. It's over to you, Samuel.
Merci, Tessie. Merci à tous. L'AFREA, par ma voix, est vraiment très heureuse de conduire à son thème cette consultation régionale. Ça a été vraiment un défi assez important, mais finalement, nous sommes vraiment très heureux de pouvoir avoir conduit cette belle rencontre. Les différents points qui ont été soulevés par tous lors des différents ateliers, et particulièrement par les évaluateurs émergents, notamment l'implication des évaluateurs locaux, également aussi l'accent sur la personnalisation de l'évaluation et aussi une meilleure visibilité de nos partenaires. Tous ces points ont été bien reçus par l'AFREA et nous pensons pouvoir les intégrer dans nos prochains plans, n'est-ce pas, d'activité. Cette rencontre régionale a été mise sous le couvert des évaluateurs émergents parce que pour l'AFREA, il est important que dès maintenant, nous assurons, n'est-ce pas, la relève des évaluateurs, mais surtout vraiment des experts de demain qui pourront permettre aux politiques de s'améliorer et de pouvoir amorcer, n'est-ce pas, le développement tant attendu. Nous voulons vraiment remercier tous nos brillants speakers, panélistes, qui ont présenté, en tout cas dans le temps imparti, des éléments assez importants sur l'avenir de l'évaluation, particulièrement en Afrique. Et nous voulons saluer notre speaker, Serge Eric, qui malheureusement ce matin même a eu des contraintes de famille, qui n'a pas pu être parmi nous, mais qui a bien voulu, en tout cas, donner sa note pour qu'on puisse la lire en son nom. Enfin, nous voulons vraiment remercier tout le comité d'organisation TESI, particulièrement, qui vraiment à dévouer le temps nécessaire pour appuyer l'Africa pour cette consultation. Remercier Fazila et son équipe qui vraiment jour et nuit ont pu vraiment aussi travailler sans relâche pour cette activité, sans oublier Marco qui, en tout cas depuis des décennies, avec l'Africa, soutient les initiatives concernant l'évaluation, et aussi Khalil et bien d'autres aussi, tels que Marc et autres, qui également aussi font leur entrée, mais qui contribuent significativement à la promotion de l'évaluation. Merci à tous et nous espérons que avec la fin, bien la diminution de la pandémie de la COVID, les évaluations seront mieux ciblées, mais surtout que nous aurons l'opportunité en septembre 2021 de pouvoir nous retrouver en face à face pour célébrer encore, pourquoi pas, cette décennie de l'évaluation. Merci à tous et plein succès pour la suite.
Merci Samuel. Alors, Marc. If you're talking, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I'll be reflecting on the years as we've had and discussed that the years are very crucial for this discussion to take place. And just a word of thank you to our supporters, our global supporters, Khalil and Marco. You've supported us so well. Tessie and then Campus, Laura, we went very well. Ramona, the flow was well and we went very well. I want to thank the organizing team. We've not been sleeping well. Fazila and team, now we'll be able to sleep. After this, we can go and rest. I want to also thank, not forgetting, our Honorable Evelyn. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We cannot thank you enough. And all the participants who've been so patient with us. We've actually gone over time and we want to say thank you. Thank you so much. We wish you happy holidays and we'll be able to reach out to you again as we'll be doing the regional consultations. So thank you so much and good day, everyone.
Thank you, Mark. And now we are, as we conclude this session, the evaluation torch is now ready to be sent off from Africa. So if we can have the next slide, le flambeau d'évaluation est maintenant prêt d'être envoyé depuis l'Afrique. So I call Rossetti to send it off.
If I may, Tessie, I will say a few words.
Yes.
Yes. So we are grateful for everyone being here to be part of this consultation for Africa. We will take it forward into next engagements, 2 regional engagements that we have planned for early next year. And we hope that we can pass the torch over to the next region, whoever it may be. I know there's very few regions left. Africa thought we were the last region, maybe we are not. So we look forward to handing over the torch to the next region. Thank you so much, Tessie.
Thank you, Fazila. So our consultation session has now come to an end. Thank you to everyone, the organizers, producers, facilitators, speakers, and all of you, the participants who made it an excellent exchange of ideas on how evaluation can support action towards sustainable development. Notre séance de consultation est terminée. Merci à tous nos organisateurs, producteurs, animateurs, conférenciers et à tous les participants qui en ont fait un excellent échange d'idées sur la manière dont l'évaluation peut soutenir l'action en faveur du développement durable. Stay well, everyone. Our session is now closed. Restez bien tout le monde. Notre session est maintenant terminée. Let's hear some nice music.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Muito obrigado.
Merci beaucoup. Bye bye.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Ciao. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Happy holidays, guys.
Bye, Tessie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fazila. Fazila is Kevin. Thank you.
Merci, merci. Merci.
Ok, merci.